5-Minute Fridays, where we take 5 minutes to close out our week in the Word of God. Today's the final Friday before Reformation Sunday, as well as Halloween. And Halloween is one of my most favorite holidays. All right? I don't really like candy that much, but I do love throwing on a Batman costume. And I've been wearing this one for quite a few years. It's starting to fall apart. May have to invest in a new one soon. But I figured this year, because I have been called Pastor Batman in the past, I have a few journals that have that label on it. This year, instead of just being Batman, I was going to be Pastor Batman. So I hope you enjoy what's going on here in front of you. But all of it to say, what I want to talk to you about is how even in Halloween, all right, even in this opportunity to go out and trick or treat, even in this opportunity to dress up in a weird way, and it seems like it just has nothing to do with Jesus at all, even in the midst of this holiday, we can still remember the love, the grace, the peace, and the mercy that our God has shown to us. And how we can do that is by looking at a pumpkin. Because what do we do with pumpkins? Well, first, they don't just show up out of nowhere. We got to go choose them, okay? And so a few weeks ago, Charlie, Liz, and I went to a pumpkin patch, and we all picked out our pumpkins, and this is the one that Charlie picked. This was her favorite. It is a Charlie-sized pumpkin. It's very small. But what we typically do is we'll take them home and we'll clean them off. We'll wash them off in some water. We'll get all the dirt off of them, everything they came with that isn't really what we want on our pumpkins. And we'll just clean them up a little bit. Then we'll start taking out all the junk that's inside, all the seeds, all the slimy, icky, gross stuff. We'll just set that off to the side. We don't need it anymore. And then we'll begin to carve it, and Charlie doesn't, because she's 2. She'll paint it. But in the future, what we're going to have her do is we're going to have her carve a little face or design on the front of her pumpkin so that the rest of the world can see this is what Charlie wants you to know. And the last thing we do is we put a little light inside of it, so that even at night, people can see the light of the work that Charlie has done to make this pumpkin into something she wants the rest of the world to see. And what I want you to know today, what I want you to take with you today as you are going out into this weekend, as you're looking around at the different pumpkins around the city, the world, whatever, is that in the same way that I just described how we do pumpkins, God works that same way in your life. Because in all of creation, who did God choose as his absolute favorite? It was humanity. It was you. It was me. It was all of us. Out of all of creation, we are his prized possession. John chapter 15, verse 16 says, "You didn't choose me. I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit so that the Father will give you whatever you ask for using my name." You have been chosen by God. And then what happens next? Having been chosen by him, we are brought to the waters of baptism where that original sin that we came with is washed away. We emerge as new creations ready for whatever God has planned next. And what God has planned next is he's going to start clearing out the seeds of sin. All that junk, all that darkness, all that brokenness inside of us, God begins to remove that from our lives in a process known as sanctification or being made holy. And then after that sanctification piece, God begins to chisel away at us, to carve away the brokenness and the junk and the pieces that don't need to be there, and to reform us into the image that he needs us to be, that he wants us to be, so that the rest of the world, when they look at us, they see the love, they see the glory, they see the mercy of the Father. And the last thing he does is he places his light inside of us, the light of the world, the light of Jesus, so that even in the darkness of this world, all would see his marvelous light. And so what I want you to remember today, what I want you to take with you today, is the fact that you are God's pumpkin. And every one of these little guys that you see as you're walking around, I want you to remember how God chose you, how God baptized you, how God is making you holy, how God has formed you, and how ultimately God is using you to share his light with the rest of the world.